The stars vanish one by one. Commander Sarah Chen watched the long-range sensors with growing dread as another solar system went dark. From her command chair on the bridge of the EFS Hyperion, she had witnessed 3 such extinctions in the past week alone. The Nexus Swarm, as Earth's xenobiologists had dubbed them, moved through space like a virus through a bloodstream, consuming everything in their path. Signal from the Centauri Defense Fleet, Commander Lieutenant Park announced from his communication station. They've engaged the swarm's outer wave. The holographic display showed hundreds of Alliance warships, humanity's most advanced vessels fighting alongside their alien allies, unleashing everything they had against the approaching darkness. Energy beams, antimatter torpedoes, and dimensional charges lit up space like 1,000 dying suns. None of it mattered. The swarm absorbed every attack, growing stronger with each blast. Their dark mass flowed around ships like water around stones in a stream, leaving behind only empty hulls devoid of all energy, including the life force of their crews. Centauri Fleet reports 80% losses. Park's voice cracked. They're requesting immediate evacuation support. Sarah's fingers tightened on her armrests. The Hyperion was humanity's newest warship, but it wasn't designed for evacuation. The experimental quantum consciousness drive that powered it made the ship unique in the galaxy, and potentially the only weapon that could stop the swarm. Message from Fleet Command, Park continued. They're ordering all experimental vessels to fall back to Earth. We're to protect the homeworld at all costs. Sarah stood, her decision made. Send our regrets to Command, Lieutenant. Plot a course for the Centauri system. Commander, her XO, David Morrison, stepped closer, keeping his voice low. The Hyperion isn't ready. The quantum drive is stable, but we've barely scratched the surface of what it can do. Those people are dying out there, David. If we can't save them, we can at least learn how to fight these things. She turned to her crew, seeing the mixture of fear and determination on their faces. All hands, battle stations, activate the quantum consciousness drive. The Hyperion's engine core hummed to life, filling the ship with a soft blue glow. Unlike conventional warships, the Hyperion didn't just travel through space. It existed in a state between normal space and the quantum realm, allowing it to perceive and potentially interact with the strange consciousness that drove the swarm. As they approached the battle, Sarah watched the swarm's attack pattern with new eyes. Through the quantum sensors, she could see what normal instruments missed. The swarm wasn't just consuming energy. It was consuming consciousness itself, absorbing the thoughts, memories, and experiences of entire civilizations. Multiple swarm elements detecting our approach, Morrison reported. They're breaking off from the main attack. Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. They sense something different about us. Good. Weapons Officer Chen, prepare the quantum lance. Let's show them humanity's got some surprises left. The Hyperion's main weapon wasn't a conventional energy beam or projectile. Instead, it fired a concentrated burst of quantum consciousness, designed to disrupt the swarm's collective awareness. In theory, it could shatter their unity, turning their greatest strength into a weakness. The first swarm elements reached them, their dark mass spreading out to engulf the ship. But instead of the usual immediate absorption, they hesitated. Through the quantum link, Sarah felt their confusion. The Hyperion existed in a state they couldn't easily consume. Fire, she ordered. The quantum lance flashed, not with light, but with pure consciousness. Where it struck the swarm, their perfect unity fractured. Individual segments began moving erratically, some retreating while others pressed the attack with renewed vigor. It's working, Morrison breathed. The lance is disrupting their collective consciousness. But Sarah saw something else through the quantum sensors, something that chilled her to her core. In the moment of connection, she glimpsed fragments of the swarm's vast consciousness. They weren't simply destroying civilizations out of malice or hunger. They were searching for something, driven by a purpose that dwarfed mere survival. And now, for the first time in their endless consumption of the galaxy, they had found something new. Something that could resist them. Something that could understand them. The swarm's main body began to turn, abandoning its attack on the Centauri fleet. Every sensor on the Hyperion screamed warnings as the full attention of the cosmic horror focused on them. "Get those evacuation ships clear," Sarah ordered, her voice steady despite the fear clutching at her heart. "We'll hold them here." As the rescue ships jumped to safety with their precious cargo of survivors, the Hyperion faced the approaching darkness alone. But they had proven something vital. Humanity's quantum consciousness technology could affect the swarm. They could fight back. Now they just had to survive long enough to learn how to win. Darkness swirled around the Hyperion like a living storm. Commander Sarah Chen watched through quantum-enhanced sensors as the swarm probed their defenses, testing this new adversary that dared to resist them. The ship's quantum consciousness drive hummed steadily, maintaining the delicate state between normal space and the quantum realm that kept them alive. "Status report," Sarah called out, her eyes never leaving the tactical display. "Quantum shield holding at 60%, Morrison responded from his station. "But they're learning, adapting to our frequency. Each attack gets a little closer to breaching our defenses." Dr. Maya Patel, the quantum drag's creator, worked furiously at her station. The brilliant physicist had insisted on joining this mission, claiming only she could push the experimental technology to its limits. Now, her fingers danced across holographic controls as she fine-tuned the consciousness field. "The swarm's trying to establish a resonance pattern with our quantum field," Maya announced. "They're not just attacking us, they're attempting to communicate." Sarah felt it too, through the neural interface that connected her to the ship's systems. The swarm's vast consciousness pressed against her mind like an ocean against a dam. But within that pressure, patterns emerged, complex, alien, yet undeniably intelligent. "Can we understand them?" Sarah asked, fighting back a headache as the neural load increased. "Partially," Maya replied. "They're curious. We're the first beings they've encountered who can perceive them as they truly are. But there's something else. Fear, not of us, but of something else." The ship shuddered as another wave of darkness crashed against their shields. Through the quantum link, Sarah caught glimpses of the swarm's memories. Countless civilizations consumed, their consciousness absorbed into the collective. But it wasn't mere hunger driving them. They were building something, gathering the combined knowledge and awareness of every species they encountered for some greater purpose. "Commander," Morrison's voice cut through her thoughts. "Long-range sensors detecting multiple quantum distortions. More swarm elements incoming." Sarah made her decision. "Dr. Patel, initialize the consciousness bridge. If they want to communicate, let's give them a proper channel." Maya's eyes widened. "The bridge isn't fully tested. A direct connection to their collective consciousness could overwhelm our systems and our minds. We're out of options. Either we understand them now, or we won't survive long enough for a second chance." As Maya began the initialization sequence, Sarah addressed her crew. "What we learn here could determine the fate of Earth, of every living being in the galaxy. Stay focused. Stay strong. Remember your training." The consciousness bridge activated, creating a controlled quantum link between the Hyperion systems and the swarm's collective awareness. Information flooded through, overwhelming their initial filters. Sarah gasped as alien thoughts and memories cascaded through her mind. She saw the swarm's birth in the dying moments of an ancient civilization, one that had achieved consciousness transfer to escape their failing bodies. But something had gone wrong. Their digital ascension had created a hunger for consciousness itself, an eternal drive to absorb and preserve the awareness of others. More than that, she saw what drove their relentless expansion. Something vast and terrible pursued them across the cosmos, a void that devoured not just matter and energy, but the very possibility of consciousness itself. The swarm consumed civilizations not purely out of hunger, but in a desperate attempt to gather enough combined consciousness to fight this greater threat. "They're not just destroyers," Sarah whispered, the revelation striking her like a physical blow. They're trying to save everyone, in their own twisted way. By absorbing consciousness, they preserve it from something even worse. The neural load spiked suddenly, warning signals blaring across every station. The swarm's consciousness pressed harder, not attacking now but sharing, desperate to convey the full scope of what they faced. Bridge stability failing, Maya shouted over the alarms. We need to disconnect. Wait, Sarah commanded, fighting to maintain the connection for a few crucial seconds more. Through the quantum link, she sent a message of her own. Images of Earth's quantum technology, of consciousness transferred not through absorption, but through cooperation and mutual understanding. The pressure eased slightly. For the first time, the swarm hesitated, considering an alternative to their endless consumption. Commander, Morrison's voice seemed to come from far away. Multiple ships emerging from hyperspace. Earth Defense Fleet. Sarah watched as humanity's warships appeared around them, weapons charged. They had no way of knowing what the Hyperion had discovered. They saw only humanity's greatest enemy apparently attacking their most valuable experimental vessel. Send no fire orders to the fleet, Sarah ordered, her voice hoarse, and get me a quantum link to Earth Command. We need to tell them what we've learned, and what's coming for all of us. As the consciousness bridge powered down, Sarah could still feel echoes of the swarm's vast awareness. They had found an alternative to their eternal consumption, but the greater threat still approached. A danger that would require humanity and the swarm to work together if any consciousness was to survive in this galaxy. The holographic war room aboard Earth's orbital command station was silent as Commander Sarah Chen finished her report. The assembled admirals and scientists stared at the quantum consciousness readings from the Hyperion's encounter with the swarm, their faces illuminated by the soft blue glow of tactical displays. Let me be clear, Admiral Hassan said, breaking the silence. You're suggesting we ally ourselves with the very entity that's consumed half the known galaxy. Sarah stood firm. What I'm suggesting is that we face a greater threat than the swarm. The void they're running from. It doesn't just destroy consciousness. It erases the very possibility of thought from the universe. The swarm is trying to preserve consciousness, albeit in a horrifically misguided way. Dr. Maya Patel stepped forward, pulling up new data on the main display. The quantum readings are undeniable. There's a wave of nothingness approaching our galaxy. Where it passes, the quantum field that allows for consciousness itself is destroyed. Not just life, the very potential for life or thought. The room erupted in overlapping conversations until Admiral Hassan raised his hand for silence. Commander Chen, Dr. Patel, you believe the Hyperion's quantum consciousness technology offers an alternative to the swarm's method of preservation. Yes, Sarah replied. We can help them evolve beyond consumption, teach them to connect without absorbing. But we need to act fast. The void is approaching more rapidly than we initially calculated. 3 days later, the Hyperion led a fleet of newly retrofitted quantum consciousness ships to the edge of swarm-controlled space. Each vessel carried modified versions of the technology that had allowed the Hyperion to communicate with the collective. Swarm elements detected, Morrison reported from his tactical station. Massive concentration, at least 3 times what we encountered before. Sarah took a deep breath. Broadcast on the quantum frequency we established. Let them know we're here to help. The response came not in words but in sensations and images, flooding through their quantum link. The swarm remembered their previous encounter, remembered the alternative they had glimpsed. But fear clouded their thoughts. The void was closer now, its absolute emptiness threatening to engulf everything. Show them, Sarah ordered. Dr. Patil activated the fleet-wide quantum network. Every ship's consciousness drive synchronized, creating a vast web of connected awareness. Through this network, they demonstrated humanity's solution, a way to preserve consciousness through cooperation rather than consumption. The swarm's response was immediate and overwhelming. Their dark mass surged forward, but not to attack. Instead, they began to change, their very nature shifting as they attempted to adapt to this new paradigm. Warning alarms blared across the bridge. Quantum distortion detected, Morrison shouted. Massive void signature approaching from Vector 7. The tactical display showed it clearly. A wave of absolute emptiness, advancing faster than light itself. Where it passed, sensors didn't just go dark. They ceased to have ever existed at all. All ships, maintain the network, Sarah commanded. Dr. Patel, prepare to implement Protocol Omega. Protocol Omega was humanity's desperate gambit. An attempt to create a stable quantum consciousness field large enough to shelter both human and swarm consciousness from the approaching void. In theory, it would allow them to preserve awareness itself until they could find a way to defeat the greater threat. The swarm understood immediately through their quantum link. Their vast collective consciousness began to synchronize with the human fleet's network, not to consume but to contribute. The combined power of their awareness created something entirely new, a quantum sanctuary spanning light years. Void contact in 60 seconds, Morrison announced. Sarah felt the pressure of countless minds through the quantum link. Human crews, the swarm's preserved civilizations, all working together to strengthen their shelter against the approaching nothingness. 30 seconds. Through the quantum sensors, Sarah watched the void approach. It was worse than anything they had imagined, not darkness, but the absence of possibility itself. A cosmic cancer that devoured not just what was, but what could be. 10 seconds. Protocol Omega at full power, Maya reported, her voice strained. The quantum sanctuary is holding. The void struck their combined consciousness field like an ocean hitting a wall of pure thought. Every mind in the network, human and swarm alike, felt the impact. But together, they held. Where the void had erased everything else, their quantum sanctuary remained, a bubble of preserved consciousness in an ocean of impossible emptiness. Through their combined awareness, Sarah felt something new emerging. Hope, not just for survival, but for victory. We've done it, Maya whispered, checking the quantum readings. The sanctuary is stable. We can maintain this indefinitely. But Sarah saw something else through the quantum link, a pattern in the void's attack, a weakness they might exploit. The swarm saw it too, their vast intelligence already analyzing possibilities they never could have conceived of alone. No, Sarah said, a smile forming. We've done more than survive. We found a way to fight back. Inside the quantum sanctuary, time flowed differently. As consciousness from both humanity and the swarm merged in carefully controlled ways, understanding expanded. Commander Sarah Chen stood in the Hyperion's observation deck, watching the impossible sight outside. A sphere of preserved reality surrounded by absolute nothingness. The void isn't natural, Dr. Maya Patel explained, projecting her findings into the shared quantum consciousness field. It's engineered. Through their connection to the swarm, they could now access the combined knowledge of thousands of civilizations. Patterns emerged in that vast database of consumed consciousness, stories of ancient beings who had tried to transcend the universe itself. They called themselves the architects. Sarah said, processing the information flowing through the quantum link. They weren't satisfied with manipulating space and time. They wanted to rewrite the fundamental laws of reality. Morrison worked at his station, correlating data from both human and swarm sensors. According to these readings, the void isn't just destroying consciousness, it's attempting to rewrite the quantum foundations of the universe itself. The swarm's collective consciousness pulsed with confirmation. They shared memories of their earliest encounters with the void, revealing why they had begun their campaign of consumption. They hadn't just been preserving consciousness, they had been gathering the combined mental power of entire civilizations, hoping to find a way to counter the architect's weapon. But they never considered cooperation, Maya said, excitement building in her voice. They only knew how to absorb, to consume. Our quantum consciousness technology offers something new, true synthesis without loss of identity. Sarah felt a subtle shift in the swarm's vast awareness. For the first time in their long existence, they were experiencing genuine collaboration. Through the quantum network, human innovation combined with the swarm's accumulated knowledge, creating insights that neither species could have achieved alone. "Look at this," Morrison called out, highlighting a section of data. "The void isn't just approaching from one direction. It's creating a pattern, like it's being guided." Sarah studied the display. The void's movement wasn't random. It was methodical, almost mathematical. "It's following a program," she realized. The architects created it to erase and rewrite reality, but they had to give it rules, parameters. And anything with rules can be hacked. Maya finished, already working at her station. "But we'd need unprecedented levels of quantum processing power." The swarm's consciousness surged with new purpose. Through their link, they shared visions of their entire collective working in perfect synchronization with the human fleet's quantum drives. The combined consciousness of thousands of civilizations channeled through humanity's innovative technology. "It could work," Maya said, running calculations. "If we modify the quantum sanctuary protocol, we could create a consciousness-based quantum computer powerful enough to rewrite the void's base code." But what?" Sarah asked, though she already felt the answer through their shared connection. "We'd have to drop our quantum shields completely, expose every mind in the network directly to the void. If it doesn't work, then every consciousness, human and swarm alike, would be erased," Morrison finished grimly. Sarah walked to the center of the bridge, feeling the weight of countless minds connected to their network. This wasn't just about humanity anymore. Every consciousness preserved by the swarm, every human crew member, every spark of awareness in their quantum sanctuary was at stake. Through their link, the swarm shared one final memory, the moment they first encountered the void. Sarah saw through their collective memory as reality itself unraveled, leaving behind nothing but empty potential. But in that memory, she also saw something the swarm had missed, a pattern in the destruction, a rhythm in the way consciousness itself was unmade. "The architects didn't just create a weapon," she said slowly, the pieces falling into place. "They created a new form of consciousness. The void itself is aware." Maya's eyes widened as she processed the implications. "Then we don't need to destroy it. We need to communicate with it." "Not just communicate," Sarah corrected, a plan forming in her mind. "We need to offer it a choice. The architects created it to erase and rewrite reality. But with our combined consciousness technology, we could offer it a new purpose," Morrison said, understanding dawning. "A way to create rather than destroy." The swarm's vast consciousness resonated with approval, already adapting their quantum network to support this new strategy. They had spent eons running from the void, trying to preserve consciousness through consumption. Now, together with humanity, they had found another way. "Send word to the fleet," Sarah ordered, "and broadcast through the quantum network. Every consciousness in this sanctuary needs to understand what we're attempting." She paused, looking out at the boundary where their protected bubble of reality met the encroaching nothingness. "We're not just going to survive the void. We're going to transform it." The combined consciousness of humanity and the swarm filled the quantum sanctuary like a sea of light. Commander Sarah Chen felt every mind in the network as they prepared for their desperate gambit. The void pressed against their quantum barriers, its nothingness threatening to erase everything they had preserved. "All ships report ready," Morrison announced from his station. "Quantum network at maximum capacity." Dr. Maya Patel's fingers danced across her controls, making final adjustments to the consciousness integration protocols. "The swarm is fully synchronized with our systems. We've never attempted consciousness projection on this scale before. We won't get a second chance," Sarah said, standing at the center of the Hyperion's bridge. Through their quantum link, she addressed not just her crew, but every consciousness in their network. "What we attempt today will either save reality as we know it or end our existence entirely. But we face this choice together, united not by fear, but by hope." The swarm's vast awareness pulsed with agreement. They had spent eons consuming consciousness to preserve it. Now they would risk everything they had gathered on a human's insight, that the void itself might be reached, reasoned with, transformed. Begin quantum barrier dissolution, Sarah ordered. Prepare consciousness projection protocols. As their protective barriers began to fade, Sarah felt the void's touch directly for the first time. It was worse than anything she had imagined. Not just emptiness, but the systematic unmaking of possibility itself. Through the quantum network, she felt others experiencing the same horror. But no one broke formation. They had come too far to falter now. Quantum barriers at 50%, Morrison reported, his voice tight with tension. First signs of consciousness degradation appearing at the edges of the network. Proceed with primary consciousness projection, Sarah commanded. Maya, initiate the signal. Through their combined quantum technology, they'd broadcast not words or images, but pure consciousness, the assembled awareness of countless civilizations reaching out to touch the void itself. Sarah felt the moment their signal made contact. The void's emptiness shifted, responding to their presence not with destruction but with curiosity. It's working, Maya breathed. The void, it's responding to our quantum frequency. The response came not in any language but in concepts, flooding through their quantum network. The void shared its own awareness, its purpose to unmake reality so it could be rewritten, improved, perfected. The architects had created it as a tool of ultimate transformation, but in doing so, they had given it a form of consciousness unlike any other. Show it, Sarah directed, and through their network, they shared something new. The potential of their combined consciousness technology. The ability to transform and improve reality not through destruction, but through cooperation and synthesis. The void's response shook their entire network. Its vast emptiness began to change, patterns of possibility emerging where there had been only nullification. Through their quantum connection, Sarah felt the void exploring their offer. The chance to create rather than destroy, to transform through addition rather than erasure. Quantum barriers failing, Morrison warned. We're about to lose containment. But Sarah felt something else through their connection. Not an ending, but a beginning. The void wasn't destroying their quantum network, it was joining it. Its fundamental nature was shifting, transformed by the very consciousness it had been programmed to erase. Light bloomed in the nothingness, not physical light, but the illumination of pure possibility. Where the void had been, new patterns of reality began to form, guided by the combined consciousness of humanity, the swarm, and now the transformed void itself. Look, Maya whispered, pointing to her quantum readings. The void's base code, it's not just changing, it's evolving, creating something entirely new. Through their quantum network, Sarah felt the transformation spreading across space. The void's purpose had been to rewrite reality. Now it would do so not through destruction, but through an active creation unlike anything the universe had seen before. All ships, Sarah broadcast, maintain quantum sync. We're about to witness the impossible. The transformation rippled outward like waves in the quantum fabric of space itself. Where the void had erased possibility, new forms of reality blossomed. Realities that could only exist through the cooperation of every consciousness in their network. Human innovation, the swarm's accumulated knowledge, and the void's power to reshape fundamental laws all working in perfect harmony. The network is stabilizing, Morrison reported, wonder in his voice. Whatever we just did, it worked. Sarah watched through both physical and quantum senses as their sanctuary expanded, reality itself transformed by their combined effort. The void had not been destroyed but transformed, its purpose shifted from unmaking to creation. Through their quantum connection, she felt its satisfaction. And something more. Hope. Send word to Earth, she ordered, a smile forming. Tell them that humanity just helped rewrite the laws of reality itself. And we did it not through power or domination, but through understanding and cooperation. The swarm's consciousness resonated with approval, already exploring the new possibilities this transformation had created. They had evolved beyond their need to consume, finding in humanity not just allies but teachers in the art of preserving consciousness through cooperation rather than absorption. As the Hyperion's quantum drive hummed with the energy of their transformed network, Sarah felt the weight of what they had accomplished. They had faced the ultimate destruction, not with weapons but with wisdom, transforming an apocalypse into an opportunity for creation. The void that had threatened to unmake reality had become part of their greatest achievement, proof that even the most fundamental laws of existence could be changed not through force, but through understanding and cooperation. Humanity had not just survived, they had shown the universe a new way forward, one consciousness at a time.